We're probably looking at about mid-April, thereabouts. At least that's what we've been told by the lab as to when we can start to expect some results.
Welcome to the NAI500 CEO Interview program, where the senior management from select listed companies will share their insights with the audience about their company's growth potential. In this episode, we had the opportunity to speak to Robert Archer, the CEO of Newrange Gold, for the first update of the new year. Newrange Gold is a gold exploration company focused in Nevada and Red Lake region in Ontario, Canada. The company commenced drilling at North Birch project in Red Lake in February this year and confirmed the structural interpretation with its first hole results in the announcement in March. We'd like to discuss about the significance of such development for Newrange and its planning in the near future during this interview. If you enjoy our video, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel so you can stay alert of our future content. Hey Bob, how are you doing today? Welcome back to our program here.
Hey Gilbert, good to see you. Things are going well.
Yeah, good to see you again. Thank you for your time here. Maybe you just want to give us an update, and before we do that, just give us a brief overview about Newrange Gold, just to refresh the memories of our newer audience here.
Yeah, certainly. Well, Newrange Gold is a junior exploration company, but we're very focused on district scale projects, district scale discoveries. And in order to do that, we're exploring in two of the better jurisdictions in North America, that being Nevada and also Ontario in Canada, in particular the Red Lake District, which is a very prolific area as well. So, we have large properties, large targets. Our goal is to basically make a large discovery.
Great. Just let's chat a bit on some of the recent developments of your company. I believe you're in your news, you're closing a recent financing here. What would be the use of proceeds for that financing?
Well, the financing was mainly geared at what we call flow-through financing, which has to be spent in Canada. So the main focus, for the proceeds from the financing would be on the Ontario projects. And we started a drill program up there in the middle of February. The proceeds from the flow-through financing would go towards those drilling programs on both our North Birch project and adjacent Argosy gold mine that we acquired just last November. So the two projects are right next to one another, and North Birch is where we started drilling.
Great. So in your recent news, you mentioned your first hole in North Birch has confirmed the structural interpretation of your model. What does that really mean? Can you explain a little bit more? And when should the investors to expect more other results too?
Yeah, it's pretty key to understand that for gold, structure is really the key. Because when geologists refer to structure in the rocks, it's really something that kind of breaks the rocks, if you like, and creates openings that allow the gold-bearing fluids to percolate up from the mantle below and into the rocks, and that's really what creates a gold deposit. And you have to have receptive rocks there as well to precipitate the gold out of these solutions. And so all of this happened many hundreds of millions of years ago in Ontario. Or billions of years ago, but recognizing that structure is really the key to exploration. And in order to recognize the structure in this particular area, we use airborne magnetic maps, which gives you a kind of a pattern of the rocks, and from that pattern we can interpret where these structures lie. And in this particular case at North Birch, we had interpreted one of these structures, but it wasn't exposed at surface. It's covered by a kind of a little valley and a creek and so on, so you can't see the rocks on surface. And so it was completely an interpretation from the airborne geophysics. And so, you know, it was very gratifying when, you know, on our first hole, we actually did intersect, you know, this wide, what we call a deformation zone, where the rocks are squeezed and sheared and broken up, and you know, that's what's allowed the fluids to you know, to percolate up. And we're seeing you know, lots of very interesting signs that would typically accompany gold mineralization in this type of an environment. As is often the case with gold, you know, unless it's visible, you basically have to wait for the assays to come back. You know, you can see, you know, all these good indicators in the rocks, but you really do have to wait for the assays to come back. And in this particular case, you know, we're probably looking at about mid-April, thereabouts. At least that's what, you know, we've been told by the lab, as to when we can start to expect some results. So we're still, you know, a few weeks away from that, but that's what we're looking forward to in terms of getting some results. And of course, if the results are positive, then there will be, you know, additional drilling at North Birch to follow up on that. As well as the program that we've already outlined at the Argosy mine. We're looking at targeting the depth extent of gold mineralization. And at Argosy, it's a little bit different because it's already, I guess you could say, a known entity, because it is a past producer. It's an old gold mine, closed in 1952, but they only mined it down to about 270 meters. And previous drilling has indicated that the mineralization keeps going at least to 400 meters. And we think it probably goes well beyond that as well. So our intent there is to demonstrate continuity or continuation of gold mineralization to depth, you know, below the old workings at Argosy. So that's something we'll be looking forward to in the near future.
Sure. So what's your overall planning for the later this year? And are you still positive that the gold juniors will getting more attention in the market, because now that the gold producers have been leading the way?
Yeah, well, as I say, our intention for the rest of the year is just to try and continue drilling in northwestern Ontario, and we'd love to get drilling again in Nevada as well. Our crews down there have been going through a bit of a reinterpretation of the enlarged property that we have now, coming up with some very interesting gold, copper targets, and I'll actually be down there in about a week, reviewing the project with our team on the ground. So see what that entails as far as future work this year. And as far as the juniors go, yeah, it's been a little bit of a wait, I guess. You know, as we see the gold price going up, it's having a positive impact on the producers, you know, majors and mid-tier companies. Hasn't quite filtered down to the juniors yet, but it will. You know, that's typically the pattern that it follows. That's you know, when the gold price rises, the first ones to benefit are the producers and the larger companies, and then, you know, gradually the interest level works its way down through the mid tiers and down into the juniors. So our time will come, maybe a little bit later this year. You know, when that does happen, you know, the best leverage that investors have is with the junior sector, because you know, from a 5 or 10 or 20 cent stock, you know, it's very easy to double or more your investment. Whereas, you know, if you're buying into a major at, you know, $60, $70, $100 a share, it's a lot harder to double your money on something like that. So the leverage certainly comes into play at that point, and that's when the juniors really can benefit.
Great. Thank you again for your time here with us, Bob, and thank you for sharing the latest update with us here.
Thank you, Gilbert.
Thank you.